Hi everybody, this is Odd Samurai, and today I'm going to be reacting to The Summer Hikaru Died, episode 4. But before we talk about episode 3 again, I want to be transparent and say that I'm pretty sure I got spoiled by a fan art of the series. So if you haven't been spoiled, I'm going to leave the timestamp where you can jump to when I stop talking about it. But basically, I saw Yoshiki holding a knife and Hikaru bleeding from his abdomen, I think. So I'm pretty sure that's something that's gonna happen. Even if for some reason like that was like misleading or something, I still like, don't tell me. I'd rather just, it stays ambiguous until I actually see it or don't see it. But yeah, I'm not gonna theorize on anything about that. Like, I'm not supposed to know that happens, so I'm just gonna ignore it until I actually see it. So yeah, but that's very concerning. Anyway, as for episode 3, we start off with Hikaru and Yoshiki as kids eating watermelon. And I noticed that sunflowers are used as a, not sure if I'd call them like motif, but definitely like symbolism throughout the episode. And so yeah, I feel like the most just simple way to see it would be like, they're to show that because we can see them in the flashback, so it's like Yoshiki is missing those simpler days when it was just him and Hikaru as kids, when their biggest worries was just turning into Watermelon Man. But I was like, nah, there's gotta be more to this. It feels like this series just puts hidden meanings anywhere that they can. So I searched it up, like, what do sunflowers mean in Japanese culture? So I got the sunflower represents adoration, loyalty, and longevity. So that all tracks if we are talking about like Yoshiki's feelings for Hikaru, OG1 specifically. Its bright yellow petals and ability to follow the sun symbolize a deep admiration for someone and a wish for their long life. Oof, yeah, that's definitely sad. And then from another site, I got that sunflowers can mean yearning, love at first sight, and in quotations, I only have eyes for you. So yeah. That's I already thought that, but good to have confirmation. Let's see. Yeah, love at first sight. This meaning stems from the way the summer flowers admire the sun. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. But it's good to have specifics. Adoration, loyalty, longevity, love at first sight. That one I'm not so sure. I would like to say that Yoshiki Hikaru was like a slow process throughout the years. So that might not be 100% true. Everything else though, it seems pretty accurate. Especially the I only have eyes for you. And the yearning, obviously. And the loyalty. So yeah. The flashbacks is basically, like, oh, this happened, and now we're gonna see a different version of it in the present. And once again, the sunflowers are there when Yoshiki and Hikaru are at the, around the table in his house. And Hikaru basically says the exact same things that OG Hikaru said as a kid. And I think it's like it's gotta be like, you know, intentional from his part. The way that he's imitating Hikaru so closely. Like, sure, you can say that Hikaru's mom is close by, so he has to, so that she doesn't feel anything amiss. But I feel like Hikaru still does this even when it's only him and Yoshiki, you know, trying to imitate OG Hikaru to a T. And that's because he feels like, oh, if he doesn't, then Yoshiki will not see any value in him whatsoever. And as we saw, Hikaru needs and wants Yoshiki as much as Yoshiki needs and wants him. And in different, you know, flavors, if you will, in different ways, but still. So yeah, I think Hikaru does it out of fear that Yoshiki will not want to spend time anymore with him if he's not, you know, imitating Hikaru frequently. That's I feel like a line I kind of like overlooked. Hikaru saying, "This for me, just hanging out with you. So thanks for the watermelon." Well, Yoshiki is about to have another meltdown. Where'd that come from? I can't lie to you. I just wanted to make sure you knew how I felt. Oh man. And we just cannot see Yoshiki's face. It's just completely covered in darkness. And then Hikaru falls asleep. Yoshiki thinks about Hikaru's dad. And he really gets inside his own head there. And, you know, he's like, once again, like, why am I acting like this is normal? Like, I cannot keep doing this. That he kind of does pictures, it's not this thing. And almost throws up. So, yeah, like, I feel like, well, I feel like it's pretty obvious, but yeah. Yoshiki wanting to act, even though he's aware, you know, that this is not OG Hikaru. Him forcing it really was dealing big damage to his emotional health outside of, you know, current Hikaru having to be in his friend's body to be able to, well, experience the human condition. But yeah, like, even outside of like Yoshiki having to see this person in Hikaru's body, it's also Yoshiki being unable to fully see him as his own person as well. That's really messing with his head. Then we have the conversation between him and Rie, and well, it's interesting. Basically what she says about what happened to her husband. Let me see if I can find the specific here. Ages ago, my late husband suddenly came home one day, but it didn't go well. He ended up giving my son a wound that would never heal. I would have given anything to have him in my life again. You already know it, don't you? So, we don't know. She doesn't say exactly how long it took her for her to, let's say, stop having contact with the creature that was inhabiting her husband's body. But, I wonder, like, was it more than 6 months? Like Yoshiki has? Was it more? Was it less? Like, it's because we are missing the specifics that I'm like, okay. Like, there's obviously a parallel between Rie and Yoshiki. But it's hard to really, like, if her mental state was also just as bad as his. Also taking into account that Yoshiki's a teenager and Rie is an adult, so that would also be like a big factor to the way that they react to this. But also, if we take it in the, like, these creatures are basically like representative of LGBT people, then Rie was like, oh, that's what made her go, yeah, we don't need any of these people around here. Like, whether, you can see it as like the fake husband, I don't know, being symbolic of like a bisexual man or a trans man. So like, oh, you're not normal, therefore I don't want you being my husband. So that's sad. But, then there's the literal aspect of like, if you stay with this person too much and you're just wishing that this person is someone else, then it was never going to work out. Whereas, as we see Yoshiki act later in the episode, well, at the end, there might be some hope for him. But he still hasn't been able to properly grieve Hikaru. I hope that we get a cathartic, eventual Yoshiki just crying his eyes out, finally letting go of Hikaru, the old one, and new Hikaru getting a name just for him. But yeah, I also like the visual language on Yoshiki and Rie looking at each other, but there's still a barrier between them, not really fully being able to relate. As we saw, like, the subtext got kinda textual, with Rie being like, oh, you guys were mixing with each other, but I thought it was a girl. Then we have the argument between Yoshiki and Hikaru. And, well, I don't have really much to say new on this one, but I love the visual, like, the animation and direction for when Yoshiki and Hikaru are just, like, feeling completely lost and their emotions being all in disarray. Like the black and white, then all of it just going haywire. So yeah, Hikaru really loses control over the possibility of Yoshiki not wanting him by his side anymore, because he could never be the real Hikaru. So therefore, you know, you'll never be good enough for me. And then we have, you know, the let's call it the goo that oozes from Hikaru going into Yoshiki, and what that might stand for, and how Hikaru feels really guilty about because, well, you know, he just acted out of instinct. Because unlike the scene where Yoshiki got his hand inside Hikaru's stomach and above, this time he did not ask Yoshiki if he wanted to do it. So there's definitely some unpleasant implications there, but as unpleasant it is at the beginning, Yoshiki does start liking it later, so we'll see what comes out of that later. And he sees like a vision, and he thinks like Hikaru is in it, but it's not him. Maybe it's his dad. And then he's like carrying a decapitated head. I don't know. I definitely did not like that. Did not register within me when I first watched it. Then we have Yoshiki thinking about it in his bed, and he's like, that thing could never really replace Hikaru, so I cannot keep treating it like the real Hikaru either. And we have this visualization of Hikaru and like part of him just dissolving, but both of their pinkies are touching. And he thinks, that's why I said what I said. And their pinkies stopped touching. So I think this is like Yoshiki and OG Hikaru. Like they can no longer touch anymore, and he has to accept that. Then the girls talk to him, and I'm still not sure what exactly about the conversation. Oh, right. It was Achan calling Hikaru like a kid or a brat clinging to his mom. Yeah. And that's what made Yoshiki realize, like, wait a minute, I've been saying or treating this whole situation completely wrong. And I like that Hikaru is very aware. You know, that enough to like apologize and being like, I really should not have done what I did. And while Yoshiki like tries to brush it off, yeah, it's pretty clear that he's still a little shaken by what Hikaru did. And I love this. Just Hikaru being like, I don't care anymore who you hang out with. Just please let me stay with you. Don't hate me. Like, that's basically like, that would be the just eliminating the reason for Hikaru's existence at this point. He lives for Yoshiki, basically, or rather to be with Yoshiki. And even though Yoshiki can tell, like, oh, I don't think this is a good idea that I'm doing this, he just cannot help himself. He's so fond of Hikaru, even this new one. Now that he finally sees him for what he is, just a lonely creature trying to, fill the hole in his heart that has been empty for too long. And now that he finally has something to fill it with, he's so desperate to lose it. Of course, the ways that he goes about it is not good sometimes. So I'm a little concerned about that because, like, Yoshiki is like, oh yeah, I'll teach him all kinds of things. But, like, Yoshiki is not an expert. So really, they'll both be learning along the way. Also, I did notice that Tanaka was nowhere to be seen in the episode, so that worries me. He might just, out of nowhere, just show up to attack Hikaru, already with a plan to exterminate him. So yeah. Alright. I think that's all for my yapping of the episode. Oh yeah, the sunflowers! Oh no! So the sunflowers, I think we saw them wither when Yoshiki was at Hikaru's house, and then when they had the argument at the school. And then at the end of the episode. So what does that mean? I think it's his loyalty to OG Hikaru starting to wane and being redirected towards the new Hikaru. But I could be wrong. Let's get into the new episode in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Also, I've been listening to the opening song in a loop for the past few days, and I think I'm obsessed with it. I think definitely I like it more than the ending now. Oh hey! The cat isn't actually running away from him. Oh, interesting. But I don't want him to be like, cut off everything that makes him himself. Ew. Right. Like, he talked with Rie. She might tell the spiritual elder council. Hey, that's something that he cannot take back. So what is Yoshiki gonna do now with this newfound resolve towards current Hikaru? また会えるからこの先は一瞬もう一瞬の隙も全部覚えていこう閉じ合うから閉じたでいとして I saw the knife. I'm worried. A confession? Oh, why? Because she's the best? Okay. These two getting some spotlight. What? Does she have ears for the supernatural? Also, in episode 2, I think she also heard, or like she felt, like the two supernatural forces cancelled each other. Okay, Ya-chan. We hadn't touched upon Yoshiki's family's problems since episode 2, so. But Hikaru hadn't been here to listen to it. But it seems, less serious than other times. A festival? Usually that's like, oh my god, so fun! But this series, I'm just wary. Huh. The ritual. That's nice. Cross. Eh. Even if it's, I don't think Hikaru is aware, but it's really sweet how he distracted the siblings from those upsetting comments. Tanaka. Oh, is he gonna explore the mountain? Oh, there's actually someone there who doubts it. 300. That's a lot. We do know that there's more entities in the mountain than Hikaru. And now that he's no longer there, they're bound to go wild. Oh, what did he find? Yo, put your toe away. Didn't we know this? Or is this a different one? I'm curious too. Nonuki-sama? Oh, they're so close to the festival. Huh. Interesting. That's maybe why Yoshiki focused on the cross. Um. Okay, wants to keep it secret. Whoa. What? A barrier of some kind? Oh shit! Oh no, don't leave Hikaru alone! Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought they were gonna stay separated longer. Oh, Tanaka is going! Oh boy. Oh, oh my god, the tension. Now Yoshiki still has the mark of Hikaru's hand. Ooh. I like that. Even if he's not fully sure. It's definitely Yoshiki going in a new direction. Oh? Oh boy. Oh boy. What? Well, that's new info. So he knew from the very beginning. Yeah, of course. He couldn't stay put. That's the most important person. That's the most important person to him. I remember this. This is how the show started. He actually saw. Oh man. That's definitely more traumatic than not having seen his corpse. The first of multiple panic attacks. Mm. Another flashback. Mm. He's that used to it. That's the panel I've seen before the show came out. Yep. His safe space. When everything at home and being in the village is too much. Hikaru's home. was his safe place. Oh, I wanted something like this for Yoshiki. I don't even know what Hikaru should do. To just let him be right now, or just try to. Oh. Oh, okay. I saw the one red pupil looking like a heart. Man. What the hell? 2 episodes in a row making me tear up. Yo. He's very dedicated to his work. Or personal feelings. Uh-oh. Whoa. Excuse me? She can just do that? Okay, man. A good portion of the episode, I'm just like, oh, please, Tanaka, please don't find Hikaru. Please. And almost surprisingly enough, he did not find him this episode. So, that bomb has not exploded. Sayonara. Sayonara. Nothing more. Da-da, da-da, do-do-do. I just noticed in this part of the ending, current Hikaru doesn't have. Oh my god, I paused and there was more to the episode. Oh. Oh, did Hikaru before he died? Or at least he isn't. Yeah, we saw this. Whoa. I really like that. Okay. Oh, good thing I did not, like, I'm so glad I actually glimpsed after, like, the ending. I was like, wait a minute, there's more to this. I'm sorry, I should have just, left it kept going. I usually do, but, like, we hadn't had a post-credit scene so far, so I thought it was, good, but no, okay. Good to know. But yeah, what I wanted to say before I noticed there was an after credits is that in the ending, when we see current Hikaru, there's a line in his neck, but there isn't one in the episodes we've seen, so is something gonna happen to him? Is Tanaka gonna chop off his head and he's gonna put it back on? Anyway. Yeah, I really liked that some of Hikaru's last thoughts were about Yoshiki and how he doesn't want him to be alone. And I definitely think that because that's what he was thinking as current Hikaru started inhabiting his body, like that last wish of his was so strong that it definitely got itself embedded into current Hikaru's soul. Also, there's gotta be some significance to the fact that, like, really, the reason he fell in that cliff is because he got distracted by the tree that looked like it has a feminine chest and just, you know, a feminine figure all around. So that's gotta be like, to me, right? Either Hikaru was straight and he just loved Yoshiki platonically, or he was bisexual. But I guess we would only know if we keep getting flashbacks and seeing Hikaru's thoughts as we got here. But yeah, I feel like it might be the like more sad take, which would be like Hikaru was definitely straight, and even if he kept living, Yoshiki and him could have never been a couple. He could have never returned Yoshiki's feelings. So he's gone, and now someone who looks like him can actually do that. So there's a positive and a negative there. Of course, if someone asked Yoshiki, like, he'd probably be like, no, of course I would want him to still be alive, even if he you know, even if we just stayed friends our whole lives. But to me, that's a little sad. Okay, well, the first scene, I think it's like a showing that current Hikaru is slowly but surely becoming more human with the way that the cat reacted to him. Now, yeah, he still ended up running away from him, but that's because he doesn't know how to pet a cat. And that, you know, he didn't, well, the cat didn't hiss at him or something. So he's definitely being recognized as more human. But I do, like, he says, like, the gross stuff coming out of me when I get excited, I want to stop that. And I think, you know, like Yoshiki thinking, oh, he wants to grow and be a better person. And it's like, yeah, I definitely see that. But it's more so because it's out of control. But if, you know, Yoshiki is okay with it, then maybe it's not, you know, the worst to actually do that. Like, that's part of who he is. Maybe he shouldn't just be so ready to discard it. You know, there's gotta be like, you know, a middle there. Instead of no or yes. Just, we got to see a little bit of Achan and Yuchan hanging out. And it seems like Achan has like a power of like hearing supernatural creatures when no one else can see them. Then we get more into Yoshiki, you know, family issues and what other people think of it, as his parents have no they have no regard for when they have their fights, and just, yeah. Now let me see this. It was a bad idea putting those Indos in charge as the Elder Supernatural Council. Okay, so they didn't like the Indos handling this. So Kohei is Hikaru's dad. He died, leaving his son to shoulder the whole burden. And as we see in the after credits, Hikaru really felt the burden of having to be the one to deal with the whole Unuki-sama ordeal and ritual. Oh man, those people just talking behind Yoshiki and his sister's backs. That just, yeah, it's unfortunate. But what really got me annoyed and frustrated is them specifically criticizing the sister Kaoru for not going to school. And he, you know, comes back when Yoshiki tells to Hikaru, or rather we see it in the flashback, that that's a big reason why he wants to leave the village. There's no privacy. And people just, you know, always not having, much regard of what, what they say, how much that might hurt someone else. As we saw with the lady that was the cashier in episode 2, I believe. So yeah, Yoshiki basically like dissociating throughout that whole interaction makes a lot of sense with how long it seems like he's been having to put up with this shit. Then we get some more lore about Unuki, Nonuki-sama. It's been there for 300 years. Okay. Then Tanaka shows up with his dirty feet. And yeah, he asks, so what the hell is a ritual for? And they don't actually give out any specifics. So I still have the same question. Like, yeah, apparently they've already explained Tanaka, but it wasn't like fully clear to me. They just say, oh, it's for the mountain god. And that's okay. And in the flashback between little Yoshiki and his dad, he's like, oh, you have to do the ritual so that Nonuki, Onuki doesn't go for your significant other. But it's like, okay, but what do you have to do for the ritual? I don't know. But yeah, also Tanaka basically accusing that there's only one shrine in the village, not a single church. And that's why Yoshiki, at first I was like, huh, Christianity or what's the other one? Catholics. I was like, huh. And maybe that has to do something with like him and Yoshiki's relationship and how, a lot of obsessed Catholics treat LGBT people. And that might be the subtext, but the text is that not many people of other religions are here because the people here just worship Nonuki-sama. Now, one of the elder councils really didn't want it to be known, but that seems to be the case. Tanaka put a barrier? I don't know how big the barrier is. Like, it could be, surrounding the whole village. I mean, considering it, like, the cost is a whole ass organ, it's, like, surely it's big enough for that, but I'm not sure. But yeah, it was able to keep Hikaru from crossing it. And he looked pretty angry that he was there. Now, I'm like, huh. Now, we don't know how really skilled Tanaka is. But I wouldn't want to underestimate him. That said, at the same time, I'm like, do I want Hikaru to, not kill Tanaka? I'd say less so because, oh my god, I care for Tanaka, I don't want him dead. No, it's because it'll bring more problems for Hikaru. And also, I'd hope for him to eventually stop killing people. So it's more so for him rather than for Tanaka. They talk about shaped eyes. And then that leads to the question of, yeah, how about me? I look the same, right? Do I feel the same to you? And I'm so glad that Yoshike's response was, no, not at all. And at first I wasn't like, is he fully sure of that's his feeling? But now I think that Yoshiki is being fully truthful. Because legit, it's just his looks, and when he imitates Hikaru, that really, it makes Yoshiki feel really bad. But other than that, like, he's just, able to tell that this is not Hikaru who he's talking to. But just, the dissonance is what's really messed with him before, because he hadn't been able to properly grieve him. Then we get the flashback with Yoshiki going to look for Hikaru and finding him dead. And that, yeah. Man. Yeah, I had no idea. No wonder he has so much trouble looking at current Hikaru, when the last thing he saw of the old one was his corpse. And oh yeah, then we get the flashback of this. Why is everyone gonna stick their noses in my family's business? And Hikaru was pretty well aware that Yoshiki's mom and dad don't get along whatsoever. Yeah, my parents always fight. And they badmouth them for it. They even had a big fight at someone else's place. The family heir Yusuke was deceased or something. And I realized that in Japanese they say like byoki, like he has a disease, not that he's dead, which I feel like the subtitles imply. Which I think it's more poignant considering what he actually is. He's just gay. But, that's how it's been seen for quite a while in the past. If you deviate from the norm, you have a disease. Or let's get you into a fucking, a place for, mental health, but not actually. It's just to, like, a conversion, torture and shit. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty sad that this Yusuke guy was treated like this. I'm guessing not just by the people in the village, but also by his own family. And yeah, like, damn, I did not expect, like, for this to, like, become text, but it has. Like, yeah, the people at the village would just, either pretend that you don't exist if you're from, the LGBT community, or they would, like, badmouth you and be like, eesh, he's sick, so let's not interact with him at all. And it's interesting that when Hikaru says, like, oh, you mean like one of them LGBT folks? I love that Hikaru was more informed. Yoshiki actually like gets annoyed and says, I don't know. And I think the reason he gets annoyed is because from his point of view, he's seeing it like, oh, Hikaru thinks I know more about that. Why? Does he think I'm also gay? I don't want him to think that. I don't want him to hate me. So, stop with that. I think that's what that reaction is. This village is too small, got no room to breathe here. Yeah, just from the little we've seen, I would agree. Oh, and then Hikaru's invitation, then just come over to my house then. I can guarantee that you'll be able to breathe. I'll be your oxygen! Oh yes. Actually, yeah, that's basically what he's saying. So whenever you're feeling like you're out of it, come here and replenish your, fill of oxygen. That's so sweet. And then once we go out of the flashback, we can see that Yoshiki's already crying. This is really something I really wanted. Didn't I say that? I really, really wanted Yoshiki to really cry his eyes out. And be like, yeah, Yoshiki's gone. I really miss him. But he's really gone. And he's nowhere around in this world. And at first I was like, what can Hikaru do? Should he just, let him just, let it all out without interference, or try and console him a little bit? And he was gonna give him some space, but Yoshiki didn't want it. And I don't think it's a bad or unhealthy thing that at that moment he wasn't looking at him. Like he still wanted to have his moment of letting his sadness out, while at the same time, clinging to someone and still not wanting to be alone. I think this was really good for Yoshiki. It's so healthy for him to finally have been able to cry and be vulnerable around someone. But it's not just someone. It's the person that would understand the most why he's so sad. And he's the only one as well that he can tell about this with utmost, guarantee that he's not gonna be judged for it. And then we have this, I might not be able to replace him, but and then Yoshiki looks at him. I'm always gonna keep you safe. And if you need anything, I'll do whatever you ask. Yeah, one of his pupils looks like a heart, kinda. I think it's supposed to be. And I hope Yoshiki will take his word for it. But at the same time, not overly rely on him. But, we all know this is a very codependent relationship still. And we get to the end of the episode where Tanaka is aware that it's possible that the creature has morphed into a human-like being. Also, no, that's not true. The last part of the episode is Rie exercising, the creature that was in the train road crossing. Now I don't know what the hell, like, how she can do that. Where did she learn that? It doesn't seem like she's actually connected to the Supernatural Elder Council, so yeah, I'm curious what her whole deal is. Anyway, yeah, I'm not sure if I have much to say at the moment, but maybe I'll have more next week. So yeah, if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. Till next time, see ya.